I participate several biennale from the 1990 or 2000 around. So and many cities studied to the biennale, art biennale basically, but also sometimes architecture or design biennale now. So and also we were involved in this biennale tendency, so to study to the several cities, and we are also participating so the different city and. Also, Biennale are changing time by time. So I think Biennale is also one of the good methodology to revitalize of the city condition, urban condition, and discover or to open the audience to the audience some condition of the city problems.
It depends, I think, more on the products than on the site, on the curations. I wouldn't somehow pretends that the Venice Biennale or Sao Paulo Biennale somehow transform architectural discourse, but certain contributions which have been done in these biennales for sure transform it. And what one has to say is that it has become also an own economy somehow, which is more and more independent or not so much linked to architectural practice. And this gives, on the one way, an extreme freedom of experimenting. On the other side, it's also a kind of specialization of the architectural profession, I would say. It's more certain contributions, actually. The Teatro del Mondo is still an incredible piece of architecture, but which is not so much anymore related to the topic of the Biennale itself, of the time, or the Strada Novissima, or certain contribution, I think, also of the elements Biennale, which addressed a precise question of a precise moment and helped somehow perhaps to enhance the architectural discourse and the intellectual discourse also of the time.
Free space, in this case also, I feel drawing is also one of the free space from the author or from the architects or from the artist. So. Because normally people observe something and then some feel so, and we try to express or we try to explain so, and then drawing is also one of the methods to expressions of or by their experience to experience it to the some representation, and yeah, and also very simple so draw with body or hand. So it's also people can understand the touching the pencil or a pen or some brushes, and also the touching the paper, and with also the interactive the paper object and pencil so on, and through this tactile skill it brings to our intention to what we can do through this drawings process. So that's why it's a kind of meditation somehow, but also we can imagine through the drawing process maybe future will be something like this, or memory something like this, and so on, so on. So we discover again from our body to the some output. So.
And I think somehow Momoyo expressed well the intentions. Perhaps the last dimension that's a completely open collection, so it could be somehow added and enhanced. It is not a finished product which we propose here.
We collect the last 20 years drawing, so because 1991 and 5, so my research made in Tokyo started, and I think from that period, the last 20 years, as you said, the world are very totally changing. So by new media or new social media, internet, or globalization, or so on, so on. And ethnography studied always observing the changing, I think. And if people saw some changing, maybe they have to say something, or they have to want to record, or register or record, or write or expose. to something the way. So, and this drawing becomes this kind of the result. All people watched, or as a watcher or as an observer, what they saw. So, in some changing in the city last 20 years. So, and then if we collect the result, maybe we see also the how last 20 years were changing, and how this kind of drawing are starting to, or conversation between the different way. And also the maybe so now my life and also very global so networking, and also we can collect the many other things together so into these spaces.
One other dimension that perhaps with the 90s architecture realized the limits of its autonomy or limits of its autonomous discourse. And the research we have shown here shows that architects can, through their tools, also think about technologies, environments, uses, all the factors somehow which influence everyday architectures, that they can think about it and perhaps also grasp again a certain capacity, if not to resolve, but to engage with this question. And all this drawing somehow, I think, broaden immensely the field of architecture, but, and I think this is crucial, through the means and the tools of architects, which is drawing and architectural thinking. One extremely relevant aspect is that somehow one crucial study, which is not shown here, but which has been done by Atelier Bauau, which is made in Tokyo, can be understood as a beginning of this whole project. So indeed, it's very much rooted somehow in the Tokyo understanding of architecture. But maybe national states were the way of organizing the world in the 19th century and the beginning of the 20th century. What we try to show here somehow is that we are still dealing with a global world, but perhaps that we are dealing much more with specific environments. And we have 8 or 10 key examples from Japan who deal with this environment, very quiet environment as the first, the W has, but also dramatic environment as the Fukushima post-disaster project. And these are key examples in the exhibition, but which should have a reach which goes beyond, let's say, the nation state, because architecture has to deal with it, but has to also go over it, I guess.